Founding Voices, the Presidency of George Washington. Welcome to Founding Voices, the podcast that delves into the stories of the first leaders of the United States and how their choices shaped the nation. I'm Mr. Walley, and today we'll journey through the presidency of George Washington, the man who set the standard for all who would follow in his footsteps. George Washington's presidency wasn't just significant because he was the first to hold the office, it was groundbreaking for how he approached it. Let's start by setting the scene of post-Revolution America. The year was 1789. The United States was a fledgling nation, uncertain and divided on many fronts. There were no guidebooks or examples to follow, no clear path forward. Yet in stepped Washington, a man revered for his leadership during the American Revolution, deeply trusted by the public. Washington wasn't eager to take on this role of president. In fact, after the war, he longed for a quiet life at Mount Vernon, his beloved Virginia home. But his reputation as a unifier was unmatched, and Congress, knowing they needed a leader who commanded respect and trust, unanimously elected him as the first president of the United States. On April 30th, 1789, Washington took the oath of office at Federal Hall in New York City. It was a solemn ceremony. He wore a simple brown suit, refusing any regal attire that could make him appear like a king. His first act, a humble, powerful statement to Congress about the need for unity and collective effort to build a stable government. Washington was aware that every decision he made would set a precedent or an example. One of his first key focuses was assembling a capable cabinet. He appointed Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State and Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury, the two men who would go on to have fierce debates about the direction of the country. This balance of differing viewpoints within his cabinet was intentional. Washington believed that a lot of discussion and diverse opinions were important to finding the best solutions for the new nation. Perhaps one of Washington's most defining moments was his handling of the Whiskey Rebellion in 1794. This was the first major test of federal authority when farmers in Pennsylvania protested against a tax on their whiskey. Washington took the bold step of leading 13,000 military men himself to put down the rebellion. His decisive action established that the new government had the will and ability to enforce federal law, an essential step for a young nation. Washington's foreign policy was another cornerstone of his presidency. He faced pressure from both France and Britain as tensions from European wars bled into American politics. Yet he chose a path of neutrality, understanding that the fledgling nation couldn't afford to entangle itself in overseas wars. This neutrality set a precedent or an example that would guide American foreign policy for years to come. After 2 terms, Washington made the big decision to step down, refusing calls to serve for life. This voluntary relinquishment of power was unprecedented at the time. It showed his belief that the presidency was an office of the people, not of personal gain or of being a king. His farewell address, published in 1796, warned against political parties and entangling alliances, warnings that still resonate today. Washington's legacy was not without its contradictions. While he was a champion of freedom, he was also a slave owner, a part of his life that adds to his complex story. Yet the precedents he set continue to this day.